What's up, folks? What's going on? Same question I have about my lighting here. I don't know what's happening. Give me a second, man. Let me see if I can fix this. You guys are gonna hear me, but not see me for a second. Let me see if I can fix this. The lighting, I don't know what's happening there. How about this? A little bit better. But I don't know. I had to rearrange my setup a little bit. I will explain that in a minute. It's a miracle that I'm even here doing this show. I will explain that. Excuse me. But yeah, I got the light a little further back. So I might have to figure out if I can get it, back close again. And we'll figure that out. So I'm not going to really trip too much on that. But how's everybody doing, man? I hope everybody is well. Another Tuesday. Got a little bit of news to talk about, man. Well, quite a few things to talk about here, man. Quite a few things to talk about here tonight, so we'll dive right into it. Like always, guys, we're going to say hello to the early commenters first and foremost, and then we'll have at it, take a few phone calls, and then we'll be out of here, okay? Let's do it. First and foremost, the early commenters, we're going to say hello to Mr. Winningham. How you doing, sir? Mo Swagger, Ron Simpson. What's going on, Ron? Jared Devil, Ken Saranaka. Hope I said that correctly. Drama Sidell, Mr. Fleetwood. I'm willing to guess, Mr. Fleetwood, and I could be wrong here, but you're either from the South or the Midwest. Am I right? Let's see if I'm right about that. Amon Bozeman, Nadrews, James Ramsey, Shadow Slayer, Destani Collins, Rajan 39. Hello, Miss Lanisha. How you doing this evening? Who else we got in here? Builder's Life. What's going on, man? C. Antoine Hill, my good brother C. Antoine Hill. And yes, I actually saw your hashtag before I even saw this comment. Embiid for MVP. Yeah, gotta say that, man. Sixers out there doing big things, and Embiid is finally playing up to the level that I felt that he could play on a consistent basis. So I'm very happy about that. See what else we got. Kieran Bromsey. Okay, we're going to talk about Fournette. I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to talk about it. And it's part of the reason why you see what I see. What you guys saw in the thumbnail and you see in the title. It all ties together. We'll get to it. My good brother Kenyon in the building, of course. Wide Diggy, Jordan Mid, and I guess we'll stop it right about there. Nicholas Provenza. Hope I said that correctly. Jesse George, what's going on? Yeah, we'll stop it right there. I did see Yusuf as well as I looked away. But all right, guys, let's get into it. Let me take a sip of water, man, really quick. Got quite a good, good pieces of information to talk about here tonight. We'll talk a little bit about some of the hires. Mike Sullivan is the quarterback coach. Again, guys, I don't have so much to say about the hires. We'll see what it brings to the table. And the reason why I'm not so overly crazy about Mike Sullivan, most people kind of know his resume or what have you, is the fact that he's a quarterback's coach. And why do I say that? Well, same thing we saw last year, right? Randy Fichtner was the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, which we all wanted to see what he could possibly bring to the table. Was the quarterback's coach. And, we saw that there wasn't but so much influence. He definitely helped infuse a lot of emotion. I did appreciate that wrinkle in our offense. But as time went on, it still kind of looked very similar to what we really didn't like. There were times where we were still very predictable. We didn't like that, right? So, it's hard to get excited about somebody who has some type of resume or pedigree when they're not going to be the one that's technically calling the shots, because you definitely would have to assume at this point, obviously Matt Canada is going to have that duty. Whatever Sullivan can bring to the table, great. There was another hire, man, and I'm missing somebody. I'm not talking about the assistant offensive line coach. I'll get to that. But there was another hire, and it's slipping my mind right now. So forgive me if I don't remember who the other hire was recently, but what's his name here? Chris Morgan. I got my notes here. You're going to see me looking at it. He is the assistant offensive line coach. And the thing that, a lot of people are talking about is the fact that he has, outside zone background. So Good question that I'm hearing from some sites, mainly one of the main sites that I listen to, guys. And let me take time real quick to shout them out. If you're not listening to Steelers Depot as far as their podcast, if you're not reading their articles, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I told the guys tonight on Twitter, I said, hey, man, I'm shouting you guys out on my show live on air because there's simply no other place, in my opinion, that's going to give you the level of information that they provide. Simply no other place. And other places may have information, but these guys do the best they can to fact check. They put time in it. You know, they put their heart and soul in their craft. You can tell that Dave Bryant, you know, Steelers Depot is his baby, and that's how he treats it, right? The man, you know, does his homework and the details, and as far as the everything, cap salary and all of that kind of stuff, man. The dude knows, man. Alex Kazur with his football knowledge, and a lot of other dudes over there, man. A lot of other writers, Daniel and Mark and Matt Marcy. I don't know if it's Mark, but I might be thinking about. It is Mark, Matt or Mark. I can't remember, but you guys know who I'm talking about. It's a lot of guys that do their thing over there, so I wanted to give them a shout out. But yeah, you know, I pay attention to what they have to say for two reasons. Like I said, I don't think there's another site that goes to that level of detail and the level of accuracy that they at least try to put out there. Number two, a lot of times these guys help, you know, they share some of the same thoughts that I might have. And I'm like, okay, so I kind of was on the right track with that. And or sometimes somebody else's opinion that I respect gives me the opportunity to question some of my thoughts. Like, okay, I see your point. So it's a good place for that for me. So that's my go-to. So let's get back to the task at hand here. So, you know, even they mentioned that this guy has outside block, you know, zone blocking background. So it makes you wonder, will that have any influence at all on what the Steelers might want to do offensively as far as the offensive line? Adrian Clem, if you guys got a chance to watch his interview, he said he feels like, and this is, you know, generic talk, right? He feels like the offensive line, you know, you got to be physical. You have to be more physical than your opponent. And he even said that maybe because some of the guys are older now, they're not able to be as physical. Now, that stuck out to me like a sore thumb. That, to me, makes it sound like, okay, so y'all going to be looking for offensive linemen in the draft. That's what that sounds like to me. Again, I try to read between the lines when it comes to coaches. For him to say that, that's what that spells out to me. And it's the reason why I have Kevin Dotson there as my thumbnail, because he is the youngest guy we have and the new fresh face that we have, who I think has a bright future. We saw in his college days that this guy's a mauler. You know, he's a mauler type of guy. He can move. He can get out in front. I don't think he would have a problem at all transitioning to a zone blocking scheme. So you got to read the tea leaves. Now, you know, these tea leaves could take us nowhere, but I'd rather try to piece together tea leaves to see if I can pull from certain things. And if it turns out to be true, you can look at it and look back at it and say, we were right about that. So, yeah, man, that's kind of how I'm feeling. Shout outs, man, to C. Antoine Hill, man. Let me throw a donation your way. Throw you a donation. Let me throw an applause your way. And thank you for the donation, by the way. Definitely appreciate that, man. He says, what's your thought on the Steel Underground? I haven't watched it much. I'll be open and honest with you guys, man. It's, how can I say this? With me kind of, you know, doing what I do, it's hard to watch, but so many, you know, YouTube channels or blogs, websites or what have you that cover the Steelers, because I can't spend a lot of my time burying myself into other content, right? Perfect example. And I'll do a quick sidebar here. A lot of you guys know me from gaming. Like, you know my background with gaming. You know that, you know, I got invited to be a EA Sports Game Changer back in 2012. And what that means, guys, is you go down and you give them feedback about the game at Madden, you know, and my background is a simulation guy. I'm the simulation guy. I want the game to be as realistic as possible on and off the field. It's always my mission. Me, gameplay and franchise mode are one and the same. I want to replicate the NFL like you once were able to do in Madden. You guys remember that? But because I did that, I didn't watch every video from other critiquers. I don't read every tweet. It's just you can't get lost in that. Again, I'll give you guys another quick example. Some of you guys know my background in music, right? When I was actively doing my thing, when I was an active artist, I ain't listen to everybody. Now I'm a fan of many, but when you in your zone, like when you in album mode or whatever, you can't be listening to, you know what I'm saying? You can't be listening to a Jay-Z or a Kendrick Lamar or any of these people that you like. You know, even let's throw some Southern stuff down there. You can't be listening to no UGK or, you know what I mean? No Scarface. You can't do that because it's subconsciously it's going to affect your creative process. You could get some inspiration, but you probably shouldn't just be listening to everyone else when you're trying to create. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the long answer, but that's why I don't really watch a lot of other YouTubers and or media people that, you know, deal with the Steelers. And, you know, Steelers Depot is a place that I happened to find like a couple of years back. And that's my resource as far as like, let me check in on some information that I don't know. Caps room, you know, space and all those type of things. And some of the roster moves that maybe I didn't get a chance to, like, I have one resource, I go there and that's it. So there you have it. You said, put on one of those hot tracks. A lot of that stuff is in the vault, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'll play a lot of instrumentals. I got a bunch of them too, man. Side note, I made like 4 or 5 of them over the weekend. Y'all will hear them at some point. Maybe one day I'll play some of those old records, like with me actually rapping on them or whatever, you know, from back in the day. But got sidetracked there. Let's get back to it, guys. So, yeah, we'll see what this guy Chris Morgan brings to the table. Let's keep our eyes on whether or not the Steelers infuse some outside zone and or with Adrian Clem's comments. I would expect, which we all have been saying it, man, offensive line is in play and probably relatively early in the draft, first or 2 rounds. We shall see. What else do we got on the docket, man? Give me a second, guys. Somehow I just lost my notes, so I apologize for that. But y'all know I don't mind allowing you guys to see this in real time. You know, I'm a real one. Here we go. Found him. Next thing we'll talk about, man. Well, let's stick with the offensive line. How important is the offensive line, folks? Did y'all watch that Super Bowl Sunday? Did y'all watch it? I know somebody who didn't watch it, and I'm not going to pick with him tonight because I've already done that. But I know somebody who actually didn't watch the Super Bowl. But you guys saw it. Patrick Mahomes was under duress, stress, might have had a heart attack or 2 out there all night. It's so funny, man, when you hear about backup players in the league, right? And some people would say, oh, that's not a big deal. They're still professionals. You know, the next guy, next man up mentality, we should be able to be okay. Boy, did it show its ugly head in that game. They literally had no time. You could probably count on both hands the amount of time that Mahomes had actually a little bit of time to stand in the pocket. And it's so funny, man, because some of the media, and particularly people on social media, just average Joes, you know, like we all are, because we're in our own house, sitting on our couch. It was so funny to see how many people said that Mahomes was trash. And I'm like, the Patrick Mahomes that has taken the league by storm, the last 3 seasons, first 3 seasons, the same guy who won MVP one year and came back and won the Super Bowl the next, and then he gets all the way to the Super Bowl this year against, you know, other NFL talent and get through the playoffs and all that and happen to get into the Super Bowl and go up against a team defensively that's able to get after the quarterback, and they're also down both tackles. That guy's trash. I don't understand him. It kind of reminds me, and Kenyon's going to love this one. Kind of reminds me of fair weather Steelers fans. You're so results driven, and you don't look at the facts. You see some of them throws this dude made while under duress. I know everybody saw the Matrix one when he's basically parallel to the ground and the ball hits Tyreek Hill of all people in the face mask. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. But people literally, I can show you guys the tweets. People were literally telling me that this kid is trash now. I'm like, okay. And that's why sometimes you have to take a break from social media, man. It's just everybody has an opinion and it's just toxic and I don't know. But yeah, offensive line is important, folks. So the Steelers better do something. And let me bring up my other point. Let's talk Leonard Fournette. As you would guess, people are already out there saying, see, we should have signed Leonard Fournette. Let's recognize this donation first and I'll get to my point. Mr. Winningham, man, thank you, Mr. Winningham. You didn't have to do that, man. I really, really appreciate the donation. So let's give you a round of applause. And I think you guys are actually hearing the round of applause now. So I'm glad. Because, I want you guys to, to share in with my, appreciation. So I hope you guys are hearing that now. Listen. Would Leonard Fournette have made a little difference? Perhaps. But let me throw a couple things at you guys that cannot be forgotten. The Pittsburgh Steelers early in the year rushed for five games or 6, but I know 5. 5 games for sure. They rushed for over 100 yards, and not as a collective. One guy did. If I remember correctly, it happened in back-to-back games. James Conner ran for 100 yards. Then Benny Snell turns around and runs for 100 yards. Looks like the offensive line is doing okay. A couple things changed on the offensive line. I don't know how significant it was when, Wisniewski and guys like that went down. But for whatever reason, by the end of the season, we just could not run the football. Simply could not run the football. I came on this show on Tuesday, because y'all know usually this is when we show film, and we've shown play after play where the defensive linemen were meeting our running backs in the backfield. Guys like Pouncey getting blown up. Guys like Little Al getting blown up, right? So my point is this. I don't care who was in the backfield. They may have had a little more success because, myself and my father-in-law, Leonard, we have this conversation a lot. He always says, man, see, we need a guy that can create his own, when nothing's there, he can create. Okay. Can't argue with that. But y'all remember a few years ago, we had the guy that probably was the best at doing that in this, current time within the last 5 years. One Le'Veon Bell. We don't always get that. We had that. And as soon as that guy's gone, now it's you just can't expect Conner and Snell to do what he did. You cannot expect Conner or Snell to do the type of things that Alvin Kamara does. You cannot expect Conner and Benny Snell to do what some of these best backs in the league do. There's only a handful of these guys. We had one. So, again, I always challenge us as a Steelers fan base. We can't keep that mentality that we're going to be stacked at every position every year. It don't work like that. So, I will say this. Would Leonard Fournette have helped out a little something? Maybe. There may have been an extra run or two here and there that his demeanor, his size, his speed would allow him to get out of, but not to the point to where the Steelers were just going to have this magical running game all of a sudden, if they play the same way we saw them play this year. That's all I'm saying. And it's not like Tampa Bay was running the ball down people's throat the entire season. And my God, if you look at some of those runs the other night, I mean, some of us could have went out there and got a 10-yard run. We might not have scored, but we might have got 10 yards off of some of it. I mean, boy, the Chiefs at one point started looking like Swiss cheese, man. It's sad. Really quick, man. Shout outs to Shadow Slayer. Let's give him a round of applause. Appreciate the donation, and you guys know whenever I get a donation, I interrupt what I'm saying and I get right to that. He says, Sim, what's your thoughts on the mock drafts? We get a linebacker, running back, or offensive tackle, and can you drop your mixtape for the culture? Yeah, man. As far as the mixtape, I don't know. I mean, again, I got a bunch of stuff that I've done, but you know, to be open and honest with you guys, man, like me and a couple of my partners that we used to run together, a lot of this stuff, man, is unreleased, and we might still put it out one day, you know, so that's why I don't just share a lot of those things just willingly. But every now and then, man, I might throw a song or two up just so y'all can at least believe that at one time I was out there doing my thing. I even got some show footage, man, for, you know, footage from when we opened for like Lupe and Common and LL Cool J and Nas. I mean, I got footage of all of that. So maybe one day I'll put that together. I'm not mad at any of those positions, to be open and honest. Linebacker, I mean, we could always utilize, if we're being real, maybe you don't have to jump out the window and get an edge because you expect what you're seeing out of Highsmith. You think his ceiling is still going to continue to rise. We already know what's up with TJ, and I'm going to get to TJ next. Highway robbery. In the inside, we dangling a little bit. You know, Devin Bush will be coming back off of an ACL injury. Vince Williams, love you, Vinny. And you've outplayed, you know, what most of us thought you would, and you've gone way further than most of us thought you may have, you know. And again, me being a Knowles fan, I was familiar with him. But he just ain't it no more. You know, Robert Spillane is a nice plug piece right there. You know, I would love to keep him around, you know, as a, you know, a depth guy. But I don't know if, you know, if I'm overjoyed about him being, you know, the main guy, man in the middle. And I know you don't get this often, but as you look at that combination of Levante David and Devin White, boy, I would love to, man, it just gives me dreams and nightmares of, boy. And I know this may not have ever happened had Shazier not got hurt, you know, if he hadn't gotten hurt. But just imagine if somehow we could have had a situation where we had Shazier and Devin Bush in the middle. My goodness. My goodness. And that's kind of not a direct comparison, people, so don't take me at face value. But that's kind of what you're seeing with, you know, the pair that they have at the Bucs. You know, you got two stout guys. Your Devin White was all over the field, and that boy's been playing like his draft pick. He's been playing, and Kenya mentioned that during the Super Bowl, and he's absolutely right. The boy has been playing like where he was drafted. No question about it. And I like that little dog that he got in him. You know, after I'm okay with a little bit of smack talking, especially from a defender. You know, every time he get close to somebody, he in their ear. I like that. And I don't think he's arrogant or nothing like that. I think that's just raw emotion. I love it. The boy's playing, man. He's playing well. But yeah, the running back, obviously, listen, James Conner's probably not coming back, so that's, yeah. We better go running back, and let's not sleep on the fact that it could be Najee Harris at 24. I'm just keeping it real. Now, do you have to grab one in the first round? You don't. But, you know, if the Steelers keep talking about how they got to correct the running game, you would imagine that they're going to do that with both running backs and offensive line. So I could almost go to the bank and say within the first 3 rounds, we see a running back and an offensive lineman. Yeah, we drafted Anthony McFarland last year, but again, he's just going to be another piece. Because if James Conner is gone, now you're left with McFarland and only Benny Snell. So there you have it. Let's see. What else I got on the docket? What else we got here? What was I saying before that, man? I interrupted myself. Was I saying anything, guys? Was I saying anything? You guys help me out with that. Was I saying something before I detoured? And that's a good detour, by the way. Again, if you guys are kind enough to give me a donation, I'm going to stop whatever I'm saying and read your comment. But y'all let me know if I was saying anything prior to that. You guys are going to have to be my memory for me. And speaking of which, while we do that, let me show you guys something really quick while I have everyone's attention. I don't know why the video came out lopsided. Hold on, guys. Let me see if I can fix it, by the way. Hold on. Maybe I can fix it, but I got something to show you guys. The reason why I said earlier in the show that I almost didn't make it here. Let's see. Let me see something. Let's see. See if I can fix it. It came out sideways, and if it has to stay sideways, then I'll just show it to you guys that way. But I want to show y'all something that you guys are gonna. Yeah, I don't want to waste your time and try to fix it. But this is what happened to me Sunday afternoon before the Super Bowl, and I want you guys to keep in mind when you see this. This was within the first 5 minutes of it happening. Check this out. Look at the video. It's gonna be in the top. This corner. It's gonna be on that side. So right-hand side of the screen if you watch. Look at this.
Man,
Look at this.
Oh man.
This is my basement. This is where all the magic happens. This is where I'm at right now. I'll show it to you a couple times. Y'all see the video. Y'all see that Steelers bucket in the corner. Where did you come? I'm Steelers sticking through, guys. Look at it. Y'all see that? Let me show it to you again. This is within 5 minutes after the situation. I am literally rushing water out of here. And look at it. This is what came loose. That water is what's being rushed through my home from outside, right? Show it to you one more time as I explain that. I'm sitting down here, got my headphones on, not really, paying attention. I hear something, get over there, and I see that water is kind of coming out of the pipe, but not really. So my first thought was, all right, just, turn the water main valve, shut the water off. Didn't work. Turned it back up, tried to shut it down again, and guess what happened then? The whole pipe detached. And when the whole pipe detached, that's what you got. Y'all want to see it one more time? When the whole pipe detached, let me show it to you one last time.
I would have been hot.
Look at it. That water was just, and guys, it stayed that way. No. It wasn't the hot water heater. What it was it's the water line. It's the water line. It's the main water that, that they feeds the water into the house. And that piece separated. So it was just the water just pouring in from outside. I had no way to cut it off. The water company could not come right away. They didn't show up until an hour or so after. So when I tell y'all that this place was underwater, and y'all should have seen me unplugging stuff. My wife was like, cut off the electricity. Because as she said that, I look over, water is rising over the power strip. My computer, the tower is down here. I grab that up, run it upstairs, come back and get monitors, run them upstairs, PS5, run it upstairs. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Real quick, I'll get back to it, man. Thank you again, C. Antoine Hill. He says Leonard Fournette. Yeah, I covered it. I covered Leonard Fournette. So if you missed it, let me know. I'll get back to it. But it was crazy. But yeah, it was not the hot water heater. But long story short, and I'll be brief, man. I like to share personal information with you guys. The entire floor in this room and all of the hallway, all the way to my foyer, done. Luckily enough, and I'm going to be a live commercial for them because we see the commercials all the time. Liberty Mutual is who holds our homeowners, homeowners insurance. They've already on the job. They already cut a check. So we're getting the floors replaced. Right now I have it cut off, but if you guys can see beside me, there's a dehumidifier and 2 fans that Stanley Steamer left here that I have to keep on because there's still moisture, in the drywall. So, they got to make sure that clears up. But yeah, that's what I'm dealing with, man. But there's no way that I was going to, I won't missing out on this show. So I cut this stuff off momentarily so we could get after it. But all right, yeah, so it wasn't anything I was saying, right? Okay. All right. So we can keep it moving. I thought I was on to something before I got the donations. But anyway, let's keep it moving, man. What else we got here? We want to talk about the Steelers Hall of Fame inductees, man. Listen, I think both of them was long overdue. So, shout outs to Bill Nunn. And of course, big shout outs to Alan Faneca. I know in the day and age of Hall of Fame voting, it just seems like a lot of times offensive linemen are overlooked. And again, it goes to the theme of this show. Offensive line is very important. You go back and look at the play that they've been showing all week. The longest Super Bowl run by Willie Parker, and you look at that block from Alan Faneca, and it just epitomizes what his whole career was. So I'm extremely happy for him. Really am. I'm really happy. And anytime, we can get some Steelers representation in there, it's always great, right? So shout outs to those guys. Next on the list, already talked about the coaching. We'll see what they bring to the table. Here's the next thing I wanted to talk about. I saw a little rumor out there. I don't know, and this was probably not a rumor, and it shouldn't surprise anybody, but apparently the Jets are showing interest in Juju Smith-Schuster, as well as Will Fuller. No surprise there. I don't know how it's going to play out with Juju, guys. I really don't. It's being reported that, again, we heard this before, but I think Adam Schefter has come out and said that they think that the salary cap is going to come in at 180, which is better than, being at the bottom, which would be 175. But at the same time, it's not the best. I hope it's a little higher than that. I would love for it to be more of the 185 or 190 range, but we'll have to see. You know what I mean? So I don't know what's going to happen with Juju. I would love to have him back. I know if you listen to Ben Roethlisberger and you listen to Juju talk, they both would love him to be back. But, Juju did say he had a list of teams that, in case the Steelers don't make it happen. And I don't want anybody to be surprised. That's the business that we live in, man. I have conversations with other Steelers fans all the time. Like, man, how come other teams can do this and do that? And you don't know their business. You don't know how they structure their contracts. I know it all often looks like other teams have money, but a lot of other teams have their problems too. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just the way the Steelers do business, man. And, once Ben Roethlisberger is off the books, then we're going to have a lot more, cap room to play with. But there's definitely going to be some casualties. What else do I want to get to, man? Two more things, and then I'll open it up for calls. TJ Watt. Let me take a sip of water here. You know what? I'm going to approach this the same way his big brother did, J.J. Watt. Shout outs to J.J. Watt, because these are almost, not even almost, what he said on Twitter, for you guys that, are not on Twitter, you may not have seen it, but I'll kind of paraphrase it. It sums up exactly how I feel. No disrespect, not a slight to Aaron Donald. I love Aaron Donald. And J.J. Watt said as much. He made it clear. It's not about Aaron Donald. He is a beast. He deserves all his accolades. This ain't about him, so don't even go there. But how is TJ Watt not the defensive player of the year when you look at the stats? And I know, again, shout outs to Steelers Depot. They were discussing, they said that, apparently it's come out that, they were taking other things into account, not necessarily stats, like the amount of time somebody's double team, triple team. I get it. But we're talking about the NFL, where stats means everything. Even the whole conversation now of greatest of all time. I know y'all have seen all the chatter out there about Brady, and I saw one where they're comparing him to Serena Williams, and I'm like, what are we talking about here? Now, I'm not going to be a Brady hater, because I see a lot of that too. I don't know where the disdain comes from, people that you don't know. And maybe that's a life lesson. I don't know how you could hate somebody so much that you don't know personally, never met in your life. Now, was Brady and Belichick my favorites? No, but I've never really had a problem with either. Be honest with you. I can't take anything away from what he's done. Even with Spygate and Deflategate, all of that. The man still has 7 Super Bowls, regardless. And you're not going to tell me that they are the only team in the NFL that's tried to do something. Come on, man. You got to give credit where credit is due. Now, did Brady have this outstanding game in the Super Bowl? He didn't. Didn't have to. Defense did all they need, did everything they needed them to do. But you cannot take away what the man has done. But I don't know. I think we got to chill a little bit on the greatest athlete of all time. It's because, again, stats. It's the stats. So you telling me in a world that revolves around stats, especially the media, all of a sudden, when it comes to TJ Watt, you got to take other things into account. The dude led pretty much every defensive category for the most part. I mean, the big ones. If he wasn't first, he was second, I believe. Highway robbery, man. And again, this is not a slight. Most people would know my affinity for Aaron Donald. Like, just what that dude is able to do, man, is incredible. Incredible. And you talking about a guy who's always appreciated most positions in the NFL. I like looking at those dudes that do the dirty work, so to speak. The reason why I used to love Big Hamp. Big Casey Hampton was my man. People didn't always give him his credit because of the stats, but if y'all really look and see what that man did, Hamp taking 2 on so somebody else could eat. I've always paid attention to dudes like that. And your Warren Sapps of the world. I remember how dominant Warren Sapp was. But I'm going to tell you right now, Aaron Donald is one of the best I've ever seen. Not only because of what he does, but it's the Charles Barkley effect for me. Charles Barkley was one of the most dominant players you've ever seen at his size. He was undersized for the position. And technically, Aaron Donald technically would fall in that category because of his stature. He's not the tallest guy. But he's just like thick and solid and muscle. The dude is just brute strong. It's like, and for him to move as fast, that dude is phenomenal. So this ain't got nothing to do with him. He deserves it all. But I just don't see how you don't give it to TJ Watt. Come on, man. That's crazy. It's crazy. But he did get the Deacon Jones Award, So, and, of course, I didn't get to see Deacon Jones play personally, but I always love that, him inventing the hand slap, to the head, man, like, watching highlights. I thought that was genius. Great player as well, by the way. So the last thing I'll talk about, man, then I'll open it up for a few calls. This Ben Roethlisberger cap situation. I didn't all the way get an answer to my question, but partially. I partially got an answer to my question. I'm actually going to find it. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to find it here because it kind of summed up what I wanted to know. Again, shout outs to Steelers Depot, Dave Bryant of Steelers Depot. And let me see if I can find it, man. I want to read what he said here about, and I had it too, guys. Read it queued up, and then I moved it, and my bad. But basically, what he was saying on Twitter, man, was he was basically saying a $4 million question, right? And it has something to do with Ben's cap situation. Here we go. I'm gonna just read a piece of it so you guys can hear it. Now, excuse me. I'll read a little bit of it here. Basically, we all know Roethlisberger reportedly he wants to return for his 18th season, right? In 2021. And the Steelers seemingly would want to not have him back at the 41.25 cap hit. We've heard Art Rooney say that. So we already know what time it was. And remember, I kept asking the question myself. Why is AR2 talking so, you know what I'm saying? He talking like he hold the cards. Because I was like, we still are owing Ben this guaranteed money. And, I assumed if you cut him, then that dead money is going to be crazy. But it made me wonder, how is he talking like that? Kind of saying, look, we want you back, but we can't do it at that amount. Remember I said, well, what happens if Ben don't oblige? Well, as I learned here, it says, if the Steelers, let me get to it, if they cut him, it says should the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger decide to part ways in the next 5 weeks, it says here that the Steelers would save $19 million in cash by either cutting him or placing him on a retired list. As far as the cap space saved in such an outcome, the Steelers would technically clear $18.34 million in 2021 after the top 51 roster displacement takes place. But then there was another scenario. He says, on the other hand, should the Steelers and Roethlisberger work out a contract agreement in the next several weeks, that essentially results in a 4-year extension with no new money in 2021, with several voidable years, the team would clear $14.34 million in cap space. And then he goes on to kind of, compare and contrast that $4 million difference, which you bring him back is yada, yada, yada. However, I didn't realize that. See, I told you, I'm smart enough to go listen to other people that know about areas that I don't study. I didn't know that if we cut him, that we actually would get about $19 million in cap space. I didn't know that. I still don't know the full back end, but okay, Mr. Rooney, I see why you were kind of saying, look, we can't do it that way. We're going to have to come to some type of agreement. So it's going to be very interesting, man, to see what they work out. I know a lot of people out there were trying to compare the Drew Brees situation with Ben Roethlisberger, but, to my understanding of what I've heard is what Brees did was with the intention to retire, whereas Ben Roethlisberger is not intending on retiring this season. So, are you expecting Ben to take that type of pay cut? I mean, because basically what Drew Brees did was accepted a pay cut all the way down to like the minimum or something crazy like that to clear up a lot of space because they were in cap, trouble as well. Don't expect Ben Roethlisberger to do that and play. Maybe if he decides to retire, maybe he does something like that. We'll see. But at this point, man, after watching Brady last night, and God knows, man, this is no comparison to that. But what Tom Brady did show you is that the quarterback doesn't have to do but so much to win and be a pocket guy. So what I'm saying is that if Ben Roethlisberger was more accurate this season, maybe some of those outcomes would be different. But heck, we won 12 games. You know what I'm saying? It just was some of the games that mattered. We didn't show up. And whether that was Ben or whether that was the offensive line, I don't know. But it just makes me wonder, guys, are you on board with him coming back? And is there enough there to possibly win? I think the talent is still there. Me personally, I would like to see us start to, start nudging that other direction, man, because clearly he's not going to be there, in my opinion, more than next season, if that. So I don't have any beef either way, but I think it's feasible to say that we can still win, if we have a steady Roethlisberger. But are we going to get that at this stage of his career? Who knows? Shout outs to BSG74. He says, where does the leadership in the quarterback trump physical ability in any college quarterback coming out this year? Having a great leader pays off. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know a lot of us are ready to move on, but like I said last week, we have a decision to make. Are we willing to say that, okay, let's go ahead and tuck on in, and we're in a rebuilding phase now? Or do we think that Roethlisberger still can give us just enough for us to win another title next year? And you kind of have to decide which way you think. If you think it's possible, then let's go all in. If you think it's not, then okay, maybe let's start moving in another direction. It's an awkward situation, man, but we shall see, man. And again, man, my order was off in my comments here, man. I mean, my topics here, but I'm glad I got through a lot of this stuff. I think we uncovered a whole bunch tonight, man. So let's see if we got any calls in the queue, man. You know how we do. Give you guys a few minutes to get yours off. We do have 3 callers, so y'all know the routine, man. Just try not to be so long, man. Be quick, precise, and to the point. And we'll love to hear what you have to say. Let's make sure the browser is on, because I know I have a bad habit of cutting it off and you guys can't hear the caller. It is on. So let's get to it. First in the queue looks like Mr. Winningham, 803. How you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, good evening. How you doing tonight?
Good.
Oh, okay, good. The one thing I want to talk about was, you were talking about Leonard Fournette, and I like Leonard, but he's not as fast. It kind of reminds me of Benny Snell, but just a little. He's much bigger. But the rumors I've been hearing around, and we can get a running back at a good price like Aaron Jones from Green Bay, that would allow us to utilize the limited picks that we have. I don't know how many picks we have this year. I think we got a little bit more than last year to revamp the offensive line. Put in, hopefully, the kid from Alabama, Leatherwood.
Yeah.
But one thing I had to commend about Green Bay, they never change. They run the ball. They run the ball. They don't get away from the run. They got Aaron Rodgers. They got Devontae Adams and a list of no-name wide receivers. But they, to their core, they are a running team. And I would find out what's your opinion on Aaron Jones from Aaron Jones played with the Packers last year. Thank you very much.
Man, thank you. Great call. Great question. I like Aaron Jones. I think he would fit. He could catch out of the backfield. He's shifty enough, shows some strength. I think he's a complete back. I will be honest in saying I don't know so much about his pass pro because I never really watched him for that. I'll be honest, man. When I watch Green Bay, I get lost in whatever Aaron Rodgers is doing, so I'm watching him the most of the time. But yeah, only question and concern I would have though, I think he's gonna be outside of the price range. He's gonna cost a little something, and I don't know if the Steelers, considering that we're gonna have to do a lot of things to even open up some cap space, do they spend it there or do they feel like there's somebody in the draft? You know what I mean? Like, even like you said, I would love for us to go O-line early if we can. But it almost makes you think, man, if they think somebody like Najee Harris will be there, yeah, I don't know if you pay that for Aaron Jones. But I'd take him. I don't have a debate or dispute on that. I would definitely take him. But thanks for the call, man. Next up, area code 609. What you got for us?
What's going on, Sim Football Critic?
Good. What's going on?
Man, this upcoming offseason is going to be really interesting, man. I think we're kind of like in a tight situation because the Ben Roethlisberger cap situation. It's what holding us back of having more cap money to sign other players through free agency and everything like that. But at the same time, you still got to sign T.J. Watt. You still got to sign Cam Sutton. There may be other people that you might got signed, and I think we won't have enough money to sign Juju Smith-Schuster. You know what I mean? But the thing is that there's always the draft. And with this year's draft, the wide receiver class is so deep. You can go there's so many different types of receivers you can get in the fourth or in the later rounds of the draft and stuff. So I don't know how the Steelers are going to do all this stuff, but it's going to be interesting. But I think the Super Bowl really showed, listen, you got to have the right personnel in order to shut down that Kansas City offense.
Yeah. Because
the way Todd Bowles and them cats did it, it was crazy. It was mind-boggling, man. And, yeah, Brady just shows, hey, you don't have to be, throwing, 300 yards every time. You just got to be a game manager. You got to take care of the ball. You know what I mean? You got to have a stout offensive line, a physical offensive line in order to, do it. And without a physical offensive line, that means, they get pushed around and see what happens to Patrick Mahomes. So that's all I got to say, man, and thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, man. Thank you as well. I appreciate it. Just to kind of comment on the thing what you said about Todd Bowles, man, the lack of being able to stop the pass rush made it easy for them. Most of the time, they was just sitting back. Sometimes it looked like they was just sitting back in cover 4. Where they had the corners way back and had the safeties ridiculously way back. A lot of times you didn't even see the too high, not really too high when they threw a cover 4 look per se because of, well, I guess you could still say that. But as deep as the corners was, sometimes you didn't even see the safeties on the screen. But they made it super easy. And I'm telling you, I don't know if I remember in recent years seeing an offensive line get blown up that bad, like a result of not having your two tackles showed up like that. But I'm still going to give Tampa Bay their credit too. You know, Shaq Barrett has been doing it all season. JPP has been doing it all season. Speaking of which, Ndamukong Suh, man, I've always liked him as a player somewhat. That dude finds y'all pay attention to him. He finds any opportunity to throw a dirty little shot in there. And maybe that's just, you know, his nastiness on field. But I tell you, he threw a couple of them in that game. They just didn't get called. Like right to the face mask, the forearm. That boy finds a way to get a dirty shot in, man. But no, shout outs to Suh. Next up, area code 910. What you got for us?
Hey, what up, Sam? It's been a second, man. Hey, it's been Freddie G, man.
What's going on, man?
COVID about March, and I ain't missed the show. I ain't gonna be long, but I ain't missed the show. But I ain't called. It's close to a year, but I ain't missed the show. I love all of it. It's the best podcast. Long story short, I think it can work with Matt Canada and Ben, as people have said, if he takes out of the mobile-friendly stuff and just let Ben pass from the shotgun, and Ben accepts the running that happens and don't try to do anything about that. And because one thing about Matt Canada, he can establish the run. LSU, North Carolina State, Pittsburgh. The guy can establish a run, so Ben has to be obedient there. But Matt needs to let him pass from the shotgun. And Dwayne, last point, I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I throw it out to Washington and stuff, and I only look at the Ohio State, the 50 touchdowns and the 8 interceptions. And that's what I'm focusing on. I think everybody should throw away that watch, because sometimes you can be mismanaged, miscoached, misrepresented, misdiagnosed, okay. And I'm not saying Washington, they have their scheme. I don't know nothing about whether they put him in the offense he can do, but I think that if they get him out of the pocket when he gets his chance here, and not always depend on pocket passing, roll him out, bootleg him out sometime, and I think Matt Canada, you're gonna have a running game. It's gonna make it a lot simpler, and I think it might could work. The guy's got a big arm. He just have to temper it. That's all I got, man. Just I miss talking and love the show, man. Keep up the good work.
Man, thanks for calling. I appreciate that. And I think I heard you say, man, that you had COVID last year. Did you say that? If you said that, man, put it in the chat to make sure my ears still work. And if that's what you said, man, it's just good that you're here. I won't go any further than that, man. A lot of y'all know, you know, what I dealt with in my family, but God bless you, man. You know, that's the most important right there. But yeah, you know, listen, man, I'm a little excited about what Matt Canada might bring to the table, man, because like you said, we know his history, especially that little piece that I showed a couple of weeks ago that disguised his offense. Man, sky could be the limit, man. And who knows, what if the guy, Chris Morgan, that has the outside, you know, zone blocking background, what if we do infuse some of that and get some of our guys on the move? And I'm excited. The only thing that has me tempering my expectations a little bit, Ben Roethlisberger's still the quarterback. That ain't a knock on Ben, but I'm just saying, we know Ben gonna run his offense. So we might be a year early with thinking that we gonna see some real change. Just saying. All right, man, let's get this last call, man. Area code 412. What you got for us?
Hey, what's up, Sim? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. This is Patrick. How you doing, man?
Not bad, man. What you got for us tonight, brother?
Well, I wanted to talk about the caller, a couple calls previous. I had to agree with him. As I think I'm really optimistic on how the Steelers are doing so far when it comes to the offseason now. Of course, they have a lot to consider with the draft. Me, personally, I feel as though and it pains me to say this because I like Najee Harris, and to use the term that you and the fellas use, he is a lotto stud, as you so eloquently put. But I don't see us. I don't know how you could pass up on a guy like Liam Eichenberg, who could become a well-rounded franchise left tackle. Now I can see them also planning to draft the successors for DeCastro and Pouncey in this draft because they're there. Now, where do we draft running back? I like and I'm hearing Harris, I'm hearing Williams, but to me, the one running back I think is going to be a sleeper is Ramondre Stevenson from Oklahoma. Now, this could be just me, but this dude has it. He has the vision, the burst. For a guy his size, he has burst. And what I like about him is he can make something out of nothing. He's one of those running backs where he gets the ball. It may not look like he's going to get out the hole, and he just, with his size, just goes up the middle. And I think we get him in the draft, plus we sign a running back too. Now, I've heard the rumors about Aaron Jones. I don't think we're going to get him. I don't think Green Bay is ready to hand the mantle to A.J. Dillon just yet. I feel like those two can make a nice, solid duo in the running game for the Packers. I kind of like Marlon Mack from the Colts. I feel like he's coming off. He'll be coming off an injury. He's a sleeper nobody's talking about, and I feel like he could bring something positive to the running game and to a Matt Canada offense. And like the past caller said, I feel like Ben has to really give in
2-minute warning
the things that Matt Canada has to offer, because when Matt Canada was quarterback's coach, we've seen how Ben was able to get the ball out of his hands quicker. He was least sacked. The most he's been least sacked, I believe, this was like 17. So I'm very optimistic. It's just they have to continue to see what they do in the offseason. But I appreciate you taking my call, Sim.
Yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate the call. Like always, definitely said a lot there. I want to speak on what you said about Najee really quick. And then also I want to go back to what the previous caller said, man, about Dwayne Haskins. That was a good point that I wanted to make. Look, Eichenberg, man, listen, we need offensive linemen. And it's going to be very interesting. It's funny that it seems like you could almost say this every year. But it is really going to depend on how teams 1 through 23 handle the draft. Who gets shuffled around? Who falls? Who gets taken off the board? Like, what if there starts to be a mini run of guys like Eichenberg and the USC kid, and they gone? And you know what I mean? What if that top tier offensive lineman that you might be able to grab in the first round is gone? And then you say, well, there's some more depth later on, and you decide to grab him second, third round, then Najee might be your guy. What if Najee Harris is gone? And then one of the tackles or guards or whatever is still there, then they might be your guy. What if, like Kenyon, I saw and a couple of the other guys put in the chat, what if Juju walks and then there's this receiver sitting there, and there's a couple of them guys you can get later on, but it is going to be interesting, man, just to see how free agency shakes out. Marlon Mack, at one time I definitely recognized his talent. Like, he may not have been the best back in the league, but I used to say, that dude, all right, he's okay. Could be a nice piece to grab, and we'll see. And I don't know if we're going to, the Aaron Jones thing probably won't happen. I think we both said that, so we'll see. But real quick, man, to get back to Dwayne Haskins, look, you just never know. That's all I'm going to say. You just never know. Guys make turnarounds. Look at Ryan Tannehill. And now, am I saying that Dwayne Haskins will have that level of success? No, I don't know. But I still don't have any beef with that signing. I don't. It virtually cost the Steelers nothing. There's no guarantees. Why not? If you could get something out of him, why not? Now Mike Sullivan's coming in. Maybe he can get something out of him. You know, and we'll see. We'll see. So, but I just want to remind everybody of that, man. You know, that we've seen this situation happen before. You know, a player doesn't do so well. He goes to another team and does better, and who knows why. You know, maybe that time that he was traveling with the first team to the next team or what have you, he acquired some more skill. I don't know. But it doesn't hurt us, man, to have the guy on the roster. So that's pretty much it, man. We are at an hour and a minute, so I will spend a few minutes here, just a few, answer some questions or comment on some things in the chat, and then I'm out of here, man. Appreciate it, man. You guys always find a way to push me to that hour, man. So I had a great time here tonight. Ricky Triplet says, and he blocked well for his size. He held his own in the SEC. A little attitude, though, but that needs, he said that needs a TB nowadays. He ain't afraid of contact. Let me go back and see who he's talking about. Who's he talking about? Oh, Zaven Collins? Or are you talking about Jabril Cox? Because I know you mentioned Jabril, and then I saw Kenyon said no, not at 24. So I think that's who you were replying to. And you guys are debating that, I'm thinking. Mr. ABS says, even though Edmonds was a need when drafted, if the Steelers are serious about Harris, then they may be thinking they wouldn't want to miss out on a Henry Light since all teams passes on him then. Henry Light, okay. Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. They may not want to miss out on a guy like that. Okay. I feel what you're saying there, brother. Excuse me. Jamal Washington says, yeah, Samuel Cosmi, Liam Eckenberg, or Alex Leatherwood, or Walker Little. Okay. Familiar with Eckenberg. I'm familiar with Leatherwood. Not so familiar with the other two guys, but I'm sure that is about to change. Kenyon, I'm sure we about to start watching these players, pretty soon here. McDave Clinoid says, Juju not going to be worth a high asking price. When you compare Juju to other receivers in the league, yeah, I mean, but again, we know this from watching football. How many teams, take a chance and risk it all for what they think a guy is worth? You know what I mean? So Juju gonna get paid enough. I think there's another team out there that notices the grunt work that he did this year. There's another team out there that's going to look back at what he did when AB was on our roster, and they're going to say, well, we got a complimentary guy, blase, blah, blase, blah. Speaking of AB, can't deny what an amazing route he ran to get that touchdown in the Super Bowl. And listen, I'm not bitter about it. I saw some fans that were really bitter about him and Le'Veon Bell having a chance to get a ring. Look, why are we concerned with that? It didn't get done when they were a part of the Killer Bees. Both of those guys showed up and performed, as did Ben Roethlisberger at times. We had no defense. It's just that plain and simple. Them dudes gave it they all. Especially Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown was the man for us. Was the man. So I'm not going to be mad at him. I understand how it ended. But at the end of the day, man, look. What people do personally is not my business. But it is what it is, man. One of those dudes got a ring now. So, okay. They should have had one or maybe perhaps two in that 4 or 5 year run when we were the Killer Bees. We had enough offense to play with anybody. You know what I mean? We was the equivalent of a Kansas City style offense. We didn't have this super duper speedster, I guess. We didn't have a Tyreek Hill, but we had a potent offense where we could score on anybody. And it's a shame, man, when you look back at that and say we never won a Super Bowl. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Who's comparing Juju to Emmanuel Sanders? Seldom Seen says Juju, what? Seldom Seen. I need you to explain that a little bit. I ain't just gonna jump to conclusions. I mean, all of our opinions are our opinions, but I need you to give us some context. In what way is Juju Emmanuel Sanders? Are we talking about on the field, or are we talking about the situation he's in being the free agent? I need to know. I need to know a little more context on that one, my brother. Who else we got here? I don't know quite how to pronounce this name. I'm going to just say Verg. Because it's probably some phonetic spelling or something. But he says, think about all the comp pick Steelers would get next year. Three-thirds. Yeah, absolutely. DK Met C says, don't you agree Juju should retire and be a TikTok star? He's trash at football. He's so good at TikTok. DK, I'm not even going to address that. Come on, man. Y'all need to cut it out. Shadow Slayer says he reminds him more of a Hans Wolf. Yeah, man. I need my man to give me the comparison, the actual comparison to Emmanuel Sanders. I got to hear more on that. Relfax says, with how the AV situation ended, I don't see us giving a big contract to a receiver again. Very possible. I did see somebody earlier say, did say something about they heard that he was in contacts with the owners. Do you think that Pittsburgh would bring him back? I don't know. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. I don't know what the contract would look like if he came back. I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm not going to say pretty sure, but does Bruce Arian and the crew bring him back? I mean, they almost looking like, I don't think, from what I heard, they're not going to lose too many pieces, and they probably going to be a force again. Brady has already said he's going to play. Gronk said he's coming back. I mean, I don't know. Speaking of which, and I feel like it's my duty to say this, you guys see that coaching staff that Bruce Arians put together? I'm not going to go so crazy on you guys here tonight, man. I'll keep it light. But I will say this. It's not simply a race thing, right? It's about opportunity. That's it. That's it. But unfortunately, the history of this country, a lot of times it has been a race thing, particularly for Black Americans and African Americans and minorities. Unfortunately, it's been that way in this country for many, many years. We all know the history. But at this point, the biggest point that it should have shown people is not just, he has black staff, da-da-da-da. No. Not just that. It's just, look what happens when everybody has a fair opportunity. The right man or woman for the job is all that matters. That's it. That's it. And I commend Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians is actually from not too far from where I live now. Right around the general area here. He's from here. Just goes to show you, man. Just goes to show you. Opportunity. And what y'all expect? Y'all want me to throw a funny out there? What do you expect? This is the dude that used to rock a Kango. It's a dude who used to rock a Kango, so you already know what time it is with Bruce, man. But anyway, kudos to him, man. Kudos to the coaching staff, man, to the organization. Again, like I said, look what happens when everybody gets a fair opportunity. And what a team they assembled, man. You bring an old guy in like Tom Brady that's still got enough to get the team over the hump. You develop a outstanding defense, and Todd Bowles coaching his butt off. Byron Leftwich, being the right-hand man to Tom Brady. It just all came together beautifully, man. I mean, that's what you want. That's what you want when you make those type of moves. That is what you want. Yeah, man. Outstanding. But all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Oh, shout-outs again to another donation, man. Shout-outs to C. Antoine Hill. Throw him a round of applause. He says, those coaches are also from the Steelers. Yeah. Yeah, man. Great stuff. You are absolutely right. Hello, Miss Debbie, by the way. I didn't speak to you tonight. That's my fault. I didn't see you in the chat, but you are absolutely right. Debbie's comment, I'm going to read that. She says, nope, Sim. Many don't know and willful ignorance and don't want to know. That is an absolute fact. But all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here, man. Again, was happy to bring you guys the show. I have to cut this dehumidifier and these fans back on to dry this drywall. And been quite a crazy day, man. It's been crazy since the Super Bowl, since before the Super Bowl with the mini flood in my house. But we made it. We made it. So, all right, man, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget, man, to do this, please. Subscribe, cut on your notifications, hit that like button. That's the least you can do, right? And thank you for all of you guys who donated here tonight. And again, continuous thank you for those who donate outside of YouTube. A lot of you guys prefer that, as do I. Only because YouTube likes to put their little grubby hands on your donations or any type of money that you earn. So if you prefer outside, I have Cash App, I have PayPal, have at it. Thank you in advance. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. And hey, by the way, I'm going to try to commit to this. I'm going to get another Madden video out for you guys tomorrow. I had planned on doing it earlier today, but I got busy, so I couldn't edit the video. I got it on my computer. I just got to edit it and lay the audio, but I'm going to get another one out to you. I'm going to try to commit to saying it's going to come out tomorrow, right? So maybe I'll knock it out later tonight and release it tomorrow. What you will see is week 1 against the New York Jets. All right, so hope you guys tune in for that. And I'm out of here, man. Be good, be blessed, and thanks for tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. Peace.